This is me, Otson from Nerdimations, and I am back with the Americas. What if the Native Americans built their own civilizations? This time, South America again. Now, something thing I've noticed is that recently these videos have actually been getting views. Oh, nice. So please watch the video all the way through. It hopefully gets interesting. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you like these videos. I'm trying to get monetized. Anyways, let's let's begin. The Cusco Empire now finally was truly meeting its end by the late 1270s. They had a few forces is left to recruit, and they had mostly conquered everything they could conquer. They had gone from Quito all the way to La Paz, as forming a major empire. And now that the Tupi and Guarani League was doing what it did, there was no way to expand further into the Chaco region, which was a major hope of the Cusco, anyways. And in 1281, on the north, or under the rule of Quito, led a revolt in the north, taking up all of this territory. The resulting kingdom now was beginning to outshine its predecessor, the Cusco. As the Cusco continued falling, revolts began around Machu Picchu, near the literal capital. The nation was at all times worrying about its demise. In 1284, all sub-government titles were revoked to continue the empire. They also planned to possibly go to war with Quito, but that idea just never materialized because it would be too difficult. Quito had already outshined the Cusco, and were beginning the expansion of their own. Then the Quechua of the central north parts of the kingdom left for their own country. At this point, most leaders could see the writing on the wall. The nation would not stay for much longer. But that process was only sped up when the Cusco tried to go to war with the Tupian League. It turns out the Tupians had just did a coup in the country, and they all had to renounce all possibilities of getting the Chaco in anytime soon, as now they were even weaker, and now their center was being officially threatened by the next major power of the continent. Finally, the people started to wonder if the nation was even worth keeping at all. The Cuscoans and in more cities even hope that more urbanization could keep the remainder of the country together. Now, they were doing pretty well urbanizing, but Quito was already beating them at it. With city after city popping up everywhere, with their population soon reaching 1 million. Now, the Cusco in their prime did have almost 2 million people, But those days were long over, and the Keto were now officially the biggest and best power on the continent. Sure, the Tupian League may look scary with all the territory they own, but they still would not win a war with Quito, especially since Quito, after its independence, had also taken with it a good portion of the Cusco military, specifically the best parts of the Cusco military. And the Cusco only continued rolling down. In 1291, a succession crisis began after the king was left with no heir. Two rival clans then broke the kingdom in half for their own wants. Now, the Titicacan tribes were the ones that were more or renowned as the soul of the Cusco. Meanwhile, others that believed that the Quechua parts of Cusco were the real Cusco. That didn't matter though, as the Titicacans were able to barely get a victory, and it took back control of the kingdom. This was good news, but it didn't last very long. As soon after the Quechua, after getting a cry for help from quote suppressors, the Cusco, they invaded the Cusco and would take more territory out of the kingdom. At this point, some people saw Machu Picchu as more prominent than the Cusco. This idea only stopped when the Machu Picchu were firmly destroyed. In 1290, the Cuscoans would suffer one final defeat when the Tupians won the Battle of Titicaca, taking the entire remainder of the Cusco kingdom. It was a total embarrassment. Any remaining Quechuas in the kingdom, though, did do a successful revolt and breakaway, and would form the Southern Quechua Kingdom, or the Quechua Confederation, and who's now carried. It was called by Andean scholars the essence of Cusco. Something else, though, was also being carried into the South American continent. Those breeding rams. Yep, sheep had finally been able to make their way into South America. Now, no one actually knows how or why, but they probably got here by trading in Mexico. Possibly, maybe some people carried their sheep south. Maybe it was Caribs returning from the Caribbean. But whatever it was, now his sheep were on the continent. But unlike North America, this was not a sheepy paradise. And by 1300, these were the only places that were populated with sheep. But once they got to the Andes, they finally encountered temperate climates they were used to. And by 1508, they had, due to human development, 1308, they had spread to most of the Andes. But every time the Guarani attempted to say take them into Utopian territory, they were always simply just died. Anyways, thank you. Have a nice day. And never, or over consolidate your power.